Hey guys, welcome to Agile Wealth Weekly, and we've got a great topic for you here today. I'm here with the Agile Wealth Partners team. Say hi, guys. How you doing?
Hi.
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Nick Bohr, Steve Livingway there. You can see their names, but we thought it'd be an interesting topic today to go through the idea that everybody seems to be, we're getting in a lot of questions ourselves, but we're hearing in different forums, we're seeing it on a lot of blog posts. People are really looking for financial guidance, and not just financial guidance, but they're looking for a financial advisor. And so we thought we'd go through 4 areas to consider when choosing a financial planner. Now, we've got an article that also has 4 steps and when choosing a financial advisor. We're not going to go through this a ton. Steve's got the article, but I felt like it would be a good resource, because if you go out there and Google choosing a financial advisor, you're going to get inundated with about 100,000 different articles. And actually, a couple of them are very spammy. They want you to put your information in so that they can send it to people like us so that we can call you. So try not to do that, all right? We're going to go through 4 things we think are very important. And we're going to leave this article for you guys as a resource so you guys can check it out on your own, all right? So let's get into it.
Thank you, John. The first area, obviously, is the people. I was an educator for 32 years, and I started off every school year telling the kids that it's the people that make a school great. It's not the building and the curriculum. Same thing true. When you're looking for financial advisors, it is those people. Your lead team, you want them to be a team of specialists, really knowledgeable, not just selling one product or maybe know just about one area. And you really want them to be a partner, a true partner. I mean, think of your important life decisions you make, and you probably talk them through maybe with a significant other or a parent. And so some of these are going to be the most important decisions you make. You need a true partner in these decisions that will be with you all the way through. You're looking for not only professional experience, which is obviously vital, a lot of professional experience in different areas, but also life experience. When you're talking to somebody about these life decisions, it's really helpful if they have also had some life experience, and you can really relate with each other.
Yeah, it's a good point, Steve. I mean, no offense, but I've mentored advisors where I've said, kind of what's been your story, how things going, and what's been your experience with financial advising? It's like, no, yeah, I went through, I got my degree, and now I'm here. I took my tests, and where'd you live? Again, nothing against these men or women, but if they've kind of had a nice ride their whole life, they're kind of missing out on some life experiences. So it's okay if your financial advisor isn't perfect. I would say you almost want a few scars. I would say.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. Just I like John said, I've mentored several advisors over the years. When I started and I was with a career agency, I was a manager, and I trained a lot of advisors in my time. And it is life experience. It's also experience, which a lot of times you're learning in the field, working with people, helping them, just trying to be a good person and listening. And what are your goals? What are your objectives? What are you trying to accomplish? And then showing them you can add value.
That really brings up I'll just wrap it up at the last point in that team. You want to be looking for that lead team that has really a passion to serve. I mean, their number one goal is not just how much money they can make. And I mean, everyone needs to make money and make a living, but a passion to serve, of really helping people. And I think you can kind of sense that when you get to know the team members. That's where that culture comes in. Is the culture based on helping people and really thriving on that? And that you really want to look for that in your lead team.
That's real important. Anyone Any advisor you talk to would tell you, unfortunately, there are some bad apples in our industry that just get in to the industry to just try to make as much money as they possibly can, and they don't care what's always best for the client or what's best for you. So I think it's very important, like Steve said, to have that passion to serve and to help and truly be there. So I think that's very important.
What's the next thing, Nick?
Family
Well,
office.
let's talk a little bit about family office. So what it means to listen, to find out and talk through what are your priorities personally, what are your priorities as far as retirement, what do they look like, making sure you have personal attention and service. That's very important. The last thing you want to do in searching an advisor is be working with one advisor who's obviously seems to be the lead advisor and has the most knowledge and you're connecting with, and then all of a sudden you're passed off to an administrative person or something like that once you become a client. So very important that you're looking for personal attention, that they're being holistic and in a financial planning capacity, meaning they're not just looking for a transaction. As an example, you need life insurance. They're looking at, do you need life insurance in accomplishing your goals? God forbid if something happens, how is that going to impact your total financial plan? Making sure that that advisor or that team has the resources in the right areas that you feel you need to reach your goals.
Good point, Nick.
So what is, a lot of people have heard the term fiduciary. What does it really mean? Is the advisor or the team you're seeking out, are they truly a fiduciary? Or are they just looking at what's best for suitability or to get through suitability? There's a big difference. Fiduciary means that they have to act in your best interest 100% of the time. Suitability just means that if they make a recommendation, that their compliance team and their suitability department that can get through that recommendation on that product transaction that they recommended, that it's going to be able to clear that suitability. Completely different. It's night and day, and it's not always about what's best for you. It's about what's best for suitability if that's how they're acting. So it's very important that you take those things into account and you specifically ask them, are you a fiduciary? Are you truly operating in my best interest all the time?
When I think of family office, Nick, I think of like this family doctor that I had for years and years and years and years. And
yep,
he would tell me things sometimes that I didn't want to hear about me, my health, but it was the best for me because that was his oath. I mean, to take care of me. He got to know me, got to know my kids, actually my parents, and then me, and then my kids. And when I think of that, I think of someone who just, you go in there and you really truly know they care about you and in your best interests. And when you get advice from them, man, it means a lot.
That's an important point, Steve. And I think that hits home for a lot of people because for a lot of people, when you seek out a specialist or an advisor in this area, you truly do want to feel that not only professionally they can help, but you have some form of connection, whether you look at it as a friendship or whether you look at it as you just know they truly care, that they're always going to do what's best for you.
And so part of the difference with that is that's somebody that will, like Steve was mentioning, like your doctor, that will tell you some things that you just don't want to hear, but you got to face. It's just and I've had some interesting moments with clients where, we're bringing up things that they're a little uncomfortable about, but that's something that we felt it was time to approach and they needed to address it and make sure you're doing that. You're not working with someone that's just going to kind of let everything slide and just let you control the whole situation, or vice versa. Back in the 90s and 2000, it was control. They were just like, okay, you give me your money. This is what you're going to do. Buy this, do that. And you're like, oh, so, which brings us really.
I was just going to say that's completely different. And that's something you really want to look at in today's world is you really want to look at, are you looking for that true partner?
Correct. Good call. And that brings us to agile planning. And
Hey,
We call
John,
it agile planning.
real quick before you jump into that, one thing I think it's very important we don't forget. Quickly bring up the difference between retail and
Yeah,
institutional.
that's probably maybe one of the most important things. If if you're working with a firm or your advisor is giving you more of a retail experience, that's because they haven't gone into the, to the new age, advising, which basically means using technology, using all the offerings that are out there nowadays that allow you to get access to the best of the financial planning, the best of the type of investments that are out there, the best of the advice out there without paying double the cost. Okay, so now you're getting what we would call the institutional experience, and that is a big difference. Institution, a lot of times I see on Facebook people are crying and hitting against the old Facebook keyboard saying, this is no fair. They could do that and they could do this, and it's like they're just the institutions. So why don't you just figure out how you can become an institutional investor? And it's very possible now. Now with the technology and how things are changing in the industry, you can get the institutional experience. And retail is it's going by the wayside, but it's very interesting. I don't know. We had 100 different appointments last year, and 80 of them were still getting retail type of It's crazy. It's slow. This is an industry that moves very slowly. So that gets us into agile planning.
How want someone agile.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Agile, you got to be agile. But let's just pull it back a little bit. This is basically what type of planning do they do, okay? So you've got different spectrums. Some you walk in and you're not going to really get any planning, okay? Two, you go in and they kind of fill in a little planning tool with you, and they show you, some of the, basics. You put your name in there and how much money you make and, what your nest egg's worth. And it's kind of a cute calculator, but it just gives you some general idea of what's going on. And then three, you've got someone that uses a very technologically based, very information based. They put in thousands of little inputs, and then they print out a plan for you and they say, this is your plan, which technically speaking, that day they printed it out, it's fairly worthless. I mean, things change every minute. As we could see just 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, or 2 months ago, to be honest, this is crazy, how fast things change. And if your plan was basically like, hey, I went to an advisor and he put in probably 1,000 different inputs. They printed me out a plan. They charged me $5,000. The day that I walked out with that plan, you basically had kind of static piece of not that great of a, piece of, documentation. I wouldn't call it garbage, but I call it garbage. And
hey, it might have came in handy with a toilet paper shortage.
Yeah. Exactly. 26 pages of, actually, when I first started, they were 100-page reports. Then they kind of got to like 50. Now they're 26. Now, what the fifth thing would be is an agile planning process is very spontaneous. It is working with you on a daily basis. It updates daily. It allows for things to, life events to account in your plan rather than for you to kind of predict what might happen. So the whole idea is it's for it to be able to react so fast that that event doesn't really affect you. But what is it really, what is it really, trying to help you do? It's trying to help you really get to your ultimate goals. So if you're really breaking it down and you're working with a financial planner, they're going to use values-led type financial planning. They're going to make sure that your values and your goals are what we're trying to actually accomplish. See, plan 4, like I talked about with the 1,000 inputs, that was all data-driven. That had nothing to do with really what you wanted. And that's not really, you need to take the data and the ability to take the values and put them together. And so that's what we would call agile planning. But it also allows for focusing on factors that we can control, okay? And so when you're talking to a financial planner, make sure they're doing those things. Make sure you're looking at all those areas. And then when it comes to the investments, make sure you're also using a little bit more of an agile planning, or what we call, and I can't say it any other way, but a tactical asset management might be something you're interested in if you're near retirement at all, okay? So those are some of the things that you definitely want to look at when it comes to your planning process.
Let me talk about just a couple pieces under results, because no matter, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you're looking for when you're choosing a financial planner or advisor. That first one to me is so important, the increased confidence and understanding of what is happening, because when you're retired, you don't want to be spending your retirement, or even before retire, just all the way through this process. You don't want to spend all your time worrying, wondering, what if this happens? Is my money going to last long enough? Am I going to be able to afford to do this? And some things are outside of our control, but to me, that at the end of the day, I mean, obviously it is financial, but the part that increases your confidence, you know you're doing the right thing, you know your plan, your partners are helping you understand. Not only you've worked with them to make sure they understand your goals, your short-term and long-term goals, but they've worked with you to make sure you understand the whole planning process and how all these pieces fit together. And to me, that is the most important thing that you want to look for in your results.
Because Steve, doesn't that make sense? I mean, because the next step would be, you know why you're doing something, you know? So you've got confidence and you know why you're actually, instead of like picking up a statement a year and a half later after your financial advisor put you into some accounts and you're saying, what is this account anyways? Why
Right.
did we do this in the first place? And that happens all the time. And I want to hit on the last point, but Nick, do you got anything to add to this?
No, I think that, you know, from a results standpoint, I think it's just important to make sure you're accomplishing your goals, and they're looking out for things like minimizing taxes, how to maximize your income, how to make sure if it is important to pass things on to your heirs, that they're looking for the most tax efficient way to do that.
So, because if you do
One
that,
more point here under results. This gets me back to the family doctor, because you might get the results in some ways you haven't thought of, and that if you're really with a good planning partner, they might bring up things you haven't thought of that maybe could be a little bit outside your comfort zone at first, but when you really understand the reasons and the process, could lead to a really great decision. So that's where I'm saying, when someone really knows you and what you want, and they really have your best interests at heart, so you want someone who maybe isn't just 100% giving just only what you are asking for. You want them to be proactive and
thinking
come up with
outside the
solutions
box
that maybe you've never even thought of.
Yeah.
correct. It happens all the time in our planning meetings, is we're bringing up a topic because we're planning. The bottom line is your advisor you're looking for should be planning for to have financial independence. Okay. And so what that means is that you're not really being affected by some of the outside things that can really create problems in your retirement planning. And that's anything from, that's what Nick goes back to talking about, taxes, making sure you're maximizing your income, making sure if there's a pandemic or a virus and you have to sit in your house for 3 months, you're really not affected. Now,
You're okay.
Sure, things might fluctuate, but your end goals, your values-led goals are going to be met, and you're going to be very comfortable and confident, just like we talked about. Because we are in planning meetings all the time, and we bring up things that are very uncomfortable because we're saying, hey, we need to make sure that we're planning for worst case scenario. So if we bring up long-term care to you, for example, you might not want to hear it, but we're bringing that up because we're fiduciary, holistic financial planners, and you might go through a long-term care event one day, and we want to make sure that we're planning for it. So make sure your advisor is bringing up all those very uncomfortable conversations. And if they're doing it the wrong way, then maybe that's not the right fit. But as time goes, they should figure out a way to do that, and it should be a little bit more comfortable because you guys have built a relationship. Okay. So we would love for you guys to extend, any advice or resources, any ability to connect with you guys as much as possible. So we're obviously in the links below from this video, you're going to have the ability to schedule a meeting, okay? Virtual meeting or just a phone call. We find a phone call is fine for the first 15, 20 minutes. get to know each other a little bit, see if we want to take it to a Zoom meeting or whatever your meeting of your choice is. Please visit our website, visit our Facebook page. On our website here in the middle, we've got a gift for anyone that wants to request this gift. Please just, this is not something where we're going to be attacking you and spamming you with a bunch of emails. But if you want to go back to that real quick on the, yeah. So what we're giving you is actually a no obligation. It's our 8-step Agile planning process, which will soon be trademarked. That is our style and way of planning. And that is proprietary to us. And we're going to give that to you guys. Now, you know, it may be super helpful for you, or it might be just a really good thing that's going to show you some things that you didn't think of. However you use it, I know it's going to be useful for you guys. So if you go to our website and you scroll down to about midway, you can go ahead and just put your email, your first name in there, and you can do a request. Just request to keep in touch. So Steve, if you push that request button for us real quick, just keep in touch right in there. Now, if you want to do this a different way, you can message us on Facebook. Just give us your name and your email address. We've got to be able to email this to you, obviously. So, or if you just want to talk first on the phone, please do so.
We just want to thank you so much for your time today. We felt during this time when there's a lot of confusion and wondering, we know a lot, part of that, people are also looking at their financial planning. So we've really upped our game on trying to get a lot more information out there with no obligation to people so that we can help build a little more confidence back during this time. And thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
Yeah, I hope everybody stays healthy and happy, and make sure you're feeding your brain with some good positive stuff, and just keep the good energy flowing. And just, again, if you need anything financially, don't hesitate to reach out. We would love to just be a helping hand.
Yep, agreed. Just, we're here, we're a resource. We want to help. And that's why we're doing these, to provide good information that will hopefully help you. So again, what John said, hope your family stays healthy and safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.